I'm not good at these things.
Ha 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 ha.
You're brilliant.
Pause.
Brilliant.
Double entendre.
So I did not want to do this, but all the Poetry House people made me.
Word. Yay.
This is for Emily, since she's making me do this. But this is the first year I've ever committed to doing 30-30, so I wrote this poem based off of a workshop that I had at the Schoolyard Institute. It doesn't matter what, I don't give a fuck about the slam, so here we go. This is, not titled. Sometimes this world closes in on you. You thought you had it all under control. But really you were under the balancing act, waiting for the thread to loosen, for the seams to burst. The first time I saw my father lay a hand on my mother, I was 6. I met a man in my chest that day. He kept tally of all the women I'd heard, brought daisies to their tombstones, shivering in my mind. Welcome to the crossroads in my heart. Could have sworn every time I loved a woman that day after I learned the negotiation of a soul. Ain't nothing more telling than my mother's humor, how she hid a perfect bruise with a smile. It was the first minstrel show I ever saw. Those mornings I'd watch her furious with makeup, how it never provided enough color to cover the shadows of a battlefield in her bedroom. One night, me and her sitting on the bathroom floor laughed at her blood swirling down the sink, following the faucet's song. It's okay, she said. Us women bleed just for fun sometimes. Wow. Play chicken with our emotions, love the thrill at the consequences of airbags pressed against our faces. I grabbed a rag off the tub ledge, soaked it under the warm tap and pressed it gently against the sting of her busted lip. Wiped the corners of her mouth, the lines of skin on her lips. It was braille against my fingers. My mother was the first poem, the only song that could rock me to sleep those ambulant nights. He said, "You are the most worthless thing I can love." And yet she called it love nonetheless, because he brought her tulips Sunday mornings, used to lay with her under the Harlem sunset, wrote her gospels, held her like a father should have, and she loved him the way silly women do sometimes. He promised her happily ever after, so long as she never dreamed outside arm's reach, so long as she remained a frightened burden, a wretched tool that fixed his insecurities at dusk when no one was awake to see the dark disappear. When I hate him, I forget that he is my father, that I share his eyes in my anger, that I roar his thunder in my rage, have his cheekbones in my stubborn pout, his drunken temper fed in through these veins, no matter rinsing, the cleansing, the organizing, the labeling, the darts I threw at moving objects. The only thing I ever believed about God was his wrath. Everything else sounded like a drowning charm playing in my mother's jewelry box. The first time I visited my little brother in jail, his shame was deafening. The only thing I could bring myself to say through the telephone window, my hand tapping against the corner, "I could have been your cellmate." He was so desperate, fought the tears as if our father was standing over my shoulder. Where do we go from here? Us, things our fathers left to grow in the junkyard of his past. I remember the cars that never worked, but how I sat in them anyway, kicking my feet up against the dashboard of his childhood, never looking in the rear view, too busy trying to get windshield wipers to work. Right there, under the rubble and under the trash, where three-legged dogs searched for food, was my mother. A tiger lily haunting my happiness forevermore, and man, was she gorgeous. A childhood stain I could never love away. There's something about a son washing his mother's blood away. Makes you wonder of the man he'd become.
Wow.